Good little. I was
Okay.
fresh cut, huh?
Yep. You
Yeah,
think?
same here.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're looking.
playoff episode can't just be coming in looking like a couple of bums now, can we?
No.
Look good, play good, as they say.
Look good, feel good, play good. Want that from Brent High.
Amen.
Okay. Been four
What's
weeks.
he always say? What's Brent High always say? He's got something saying. He's always commenting.
Folk
Take
better
it.
recognize.
Yeah, folk
Folk
better
better
recognize. That's
recognize.
right. Hey, folk gonna recognize something after this week, but I
This
don't
is
know
going to
what
be
it
one
is.
of
It
the
might not be the Copper Kittles.
big week. Okay.
Huge.
14. I think this is the latest in the year we've ever made one of these. So props to us. It's been a while, but we're back.
Yeah.
We put a lot of effort into this one. So going to be great.
Less of a we and more of a Sager, but I'm happy to be here.
True. Carter Fleet word of the day. It started to turn into phrase of the day.
Yeah, I don't know about this. This really threatens the integrity of the system.
Yeah, I was gonna do marbles, like all the marbles, but that doesn't make sense anymore.
Mm,
So it's just.
yeah, it's a tough call. It's a tough call.
Um, from last week, who cares?
Yeah,
It's just like my
last week. I
Thunder.
mean, last week doesn't matter. It's a one game season at this
Yeah,
point.
no doubt. And season starts now.
That's what I just said.
Yep. Same slides every week. One game
And
left.
it's so true. It's so true. I
Yep.
need I need one more win,
Mhm.
as do many others.
Uh, um, just get some housekeeping out of the way. Ben Peterson eliminated from playoff contention. Hayden Fly eliminated.
Oh,
Yep.
remember when I said it was his year?
Yeah. And Will Grogan. I might go back and watch the first episode and do like
Oh,
a worst takes.
horrifying, horrifying.
And I get a 2 week little playoff rest here. So the
Hmm.
rust versus rest, it's gonna be taken into
What I was
consideration.
thinking, are the fellas going to lose their competitive edge?
It's tough to say. I sent out some emails making sure that we staying loose during this time, but you just never know. So this will be an
Mhm,
interesting test case.
for sure.
What everyone's here for.
Yep.
5 spots, 8 fighters. This is
Mhm.
unforeseen in the highest of levels. Maybe there's like a one or two, like, oh, if this guy loses, he could get in. There are 8 teams that could get in or be eliminated.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, levels of parity never before seen. It's like college football this year, to be honest with you.
Did we expand the plot? I didn't remember doing that, but
What it seems like. And I have
must
to say,
have.
you picked a very appropriate picture for Tucker here with the eight fighters theme. I don't know if that was intentional, but I like that.
It was not. Also, I did not have a picture of Houston on my laptop, and my text
Hmm.
message wasn't working, so I went with Anakin Skywalker. But that's Houston.
Oh, is he in the top right? Oh, I had that covered up. I
Yeah,
see. I see.
I moved it on the screen for the people.
Yep.
Okay, let's get into it, shall we?
Let's.
Big fights to remember.
Oh man, this is huge.
Nixon plays Tucker. Craw plays Henderson. So this is two big things to remember as we go into discussing everyone's playoff chances. Is
Hmm.
that these guys play each other?
Yep.
Got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. I'm interested in both. I know both could affect the division. For
Oh,
whatever reason, Division Johnson
oh,
just so interesting to me as we wait for this to load.
oh, it's not gonna load. It was just showing the points for. It's kind of annoying. Is there a way to make it load?
I can't say I'm familiar. Maybe we can start over and make
Now it's
that make that
loading.
haircuts make
Look,
that
it's
haircuts
loading.
joke again.
It's loading. I'm not sure. Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Well, I mean, I'll just throw this out there while we wait on this. But yeah, I
Oh,
might be ahead
got
of
it.
what's planned here. Go ahead, take away,
No, no, no.
take it away,
I'd love
take
to
it
hear
away,
what you're
take it
saying.
away. I've got nothing. Take it away.
Perfect. We'll start with Carter King, probably the easiest one. I believe he had a 98% playoff chance. If you wouldn't mind pulling that up for me, just to vet that.
Yep, 98. There it is.
Cross sitting at 8-5. Only one with 8 wins. So it puts him in a very, very good spot. So we'll just go through his scenarios. He clinches the second bye with a win, or if he loses, outscores Grant. And if there's a little W, that's assuming they win. So that's just to save me some words. So assuming Grant wins, he would have to outscore him by 70.94.
Not
A
happening.
Mason win, he'd have to outscore him by 9.6. If Houston wins, be outscored by less than 10.02. If the Wheat wins, be outscored by less than 70.46. And be outscored by Anderson if he wins, which obviously, if Corral loses, Anderson wins. That's something you got to remember.
This is absurd.
Less than 75.
I don't feel worthy to be on this podcast right now. This is absurd.
I spent a lot of time on this, and I'm not.
Clearly.
I'll tell you what. When at Grant slide, I'm not sure I did it right because that's
Okay.
the divisions get really confusing. So
Yes.
we'll not talk that through. Or lose in teams with 7 wins, namely Mason, Grant, Houston, because they're closest. Or no offense, lose.
None taken.
So I think that would be the maybe the easier way to explain that.
So wait, just making sure I understand is before we do 7 more slides of this. The second lot or whatever bullet point, that's if he loses, if any of these like 7 things happen, he is in.
For the second round bye. Basically, I was just trying to like shorthand it.
Oh, I
loses,
see. Okay.
If he loses and these guys lose as well, he gets the bye.
Okay, so if he needs all of those things to happen, if he loses for the second round bye.
Basically.
I see.
So instead of saying outscore Grant, assuming a W, you could just say or Grant lose, or Mason lose, or
right.
lose, or any combination of those to get him there.
Right.
And just to make the playoffs, if he loses, just one of these things has to happen. Be outscored by Anderson by less than 75.06, outscore Grant, outscore Mason by 9.6, and then the same thing basically. So only one.
We can just stop this here. He's Anderson and I are not going to outscore him by 70 points.
That's why he's at 98%.
So he's in. Okay, yeah, I was clearing that up.
So what's the 2%, you might ask? If Grant, Mason, Houston, and Anderson all win and end with more points for, he's eliminated.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm shocked that's 2%. Anderson is 75 points behind him. I'm 70 points behind him. That's like 0.000 to me.
So basically, any 7-win team losing gets him in the playoffs. And even then, even if they all won, the likelihood is still astronomical.
Draws in Sharpie. Next slide.
Yep. Grant sitting at 7-6.
Yep.
He can clinch a bye with a win, a Craw loss, and be outscored by Craw by less than 70.94.
Okay.
A Mason loss, or be outscored by less than 61.34, assuming Mason wins. Houston loss and be outscored by less than 80.96. Sorry, Houston loss or be outscored, assuming a win. Or a Thweet loss and be outscored by less than 141.4.
Scenes when Grant loses and I win and outscore him by 141 points.
That would be cinema.
So, looking at this, sorry, I know I'm going to hold us up here because I'm seeing all of this for the first time. I'll try to be quick about it. If Grant wins,
Craw loses, basically Grant's going to get the bye.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true because his points for advantage is so huge. I mean, these numbers are insane.
Yeah. 60 points is so many.
Yeah.
So that'll be a matchup for him to watch for All versus Anderson.
Absolutely.
All right. And just to make the playoffs, win and have more points for, I'm not doing the math, then one other 8-win team, assuming all the teams that are at 7 wins right now all went out. So that seems very likely as well. Not even just the 7 wins winning out, but just him having more points for it.
Yeah. He's at 89 right now. And again, I feel like that could be higher, but 89% just for those curious.
Or win and a Craw win puts him in because Anderson would lose.
Right.
He's one of the 7 teams, or win in any other 7-team win
Hmm.
lose. Puts him in the playoffs.
And based on the fact that I play you this week, I think it's a safe bet that one of those 7 win teams is losing.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Or he could lose and outscore the winner of Tucker versus Nixon for the division title. And as we know, the winner of the division gets in the playoffs. So I don't know why he's at 90%. This seems closer to 98% to me as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it looks like the division. If Tucker wins that game, Grant basically has the division because Tucker's like 100 points behind him, and they'd be tied in record. Nixon wins 30 points, a little closer, but Grant still seems to me to have the division pretty wrapped up.
Yeah, this is the way Grant could be eliminated. Anderson, Mason, Dweet, and Houston all win. And then basically Nixon would have to win and outscore him by 30 for him to be eliminated.
So that's, I mean, yeah, the odds of all of those teams winning and Nixon outscoring him by 30 points, unlikely.
Even if you just put the wins at 50-50,
yeah, absurd odds.
1 in 16 chance.
Grant, he's been inconsistent all year, but when he puts up points, he puts up points, and he's being rewarded for it. That's why he's 7-6 with so many points. But yeah, the guy's too good to fail at this point.
So that's Grant.
Next slide.
Mason also sitting at 7-6, clinches the second bye with a win and a Crawl loss and be outscored by Crawl by less than 9.6. A Grant loss or outscored by 61.34. Houston loss or be outscored, blah, blah, blah. Wheat loss or be outscored, blah, blah, blah. So all those things would have to happen for him to get the second round bye.
Right.
Mostly just, well, no, the points for are pretty close. But a Crawl loss and a Grant loss, and Mason's got a pretty good chance.
Yep.
Getting that second round bye. What are his percentages at?
To make the playoffs?
ESPN. I'm just curious.
77.
77. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make the playoffs. Win and have more points for than one other 8-win team, assuming all 5 of the 7-win teams currently at the moment win, leaving 6 8-win teams. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because 5 would get in because I'm already in.
Right.
Top 5 of that. Or win and Crawl win because, again, Anderson would lose. Or win and any of the other current 7-win team loses. If he loses, he could outscore other 7-win teams for top 5 of the 8. Does that make sense? Anyone with 7 losses, each has more points.
Yeah, he's got to outscore him.
Not included in that math, the winner of Nixon or Tucker comes into play, as well as potentially Division Johnson winner. Could change how you get into the top 5, but the point remains top 5 of these 8. If Anderson, Grant, Dweet, and Houston win, and Mason loses, he is eliminated. So, not impossible.
Again, not impossible, but we're getting into slightly likelier scenarios now, but only slightly.
For sure.
Yep.
Houston, also a sneaky 7-6, might I add. I'd like to give him a little golf clap. Don't know where this came from the young man.
And a sneaky good scenario here, too. I mean, he's one of these teams that has a really good shot at this point.
What was his percentage?
71, to be exact.
All right. Houston also has a chance for the bye. Anyone with 7 wins basically has the same spot to the bye, which is
path to the bye. Yeah.
He has to win. Craw has to lose and outscore Craw by 10. Grant loss or outscore by 80. So basically, Grant has to lose. Mason lose or outscore by 19.62. Sweet loss or be outscored by less than 60.44. So he has the advantage over you.
And worth noting real quick as we talk about Houston, I don't think this is collusion or illegal. I did text Grogan and say, if you could set your lineup, that would be huge. And he liked the message. So hoping for big things from the boy. Just something to note as we get into the scenarios here. Grogan playing Houston for the uneducated.
I've done that before. That's not cool. He makes the playoffs, win and have more points for, again, the exact same scenario as Mason, than one other of the 8-win teams, assuming all 5 of the current 7-win teams win, leaving 6 8-win teams. Or win and Craw wins, meaning Anderson lost, or any of the other 17 loses. If he loses, the exact same as well. Outscore other 7-win teams for top 5 of the 8. If Anderson, Grant, Thweatt, and Mason win and Houston loses, he is eliminated. So really, like, those three basically symmetrical, things get them in or out.
Right. So wait, real quick, when you say Anderson, Grant, Thweatt, Mason, etc., and maybe this is where Nixon or Tucker comes into play. Nixon could also take one of those spots, or maybe Tucker, but
because they're both 6 and 7.
Right. But if Houston loses, he'd have 7 wins, and then Nixon or the winner of that game would also have 7 wins.
But if Anderson, Grant, Thweatt, and Mason win, they'd each have 8 wins. Craw already has 8 wins.
Wouldn't matter.
I'm already in. So the 6 would be locked up.
I see. Apologies.
All good, all good.
It's a confusing time.
Thweatt, also 7 and 6. I'm not going to go over the clinch the second bye. It seems pretty unlikely. You can read it if you'd like, but you have to win. Yeah. Craw lost and outscore Craw by 70.6. Grant would have to lose. Mason would have to lose. Houston would have to lose.
So yeah, so this is impossible because even if all of them lose, I'm not outscoring Craw by 70. Let's move on.
Yeah. Again, same make the playoffs. Win and have more points for than one of the other 8-win teams. Or win and Craw win. Or win and the other 17-win lose. So pretty confident win in your in situation. I bet you're around 50% if I had to guess.
49.
Yeah. That seems about right.
Did you look at that?
No. Actually, I probably looked at it yesterday.
Yeah.
That just makes sense. It's a coin flip, basically.
Yeah.
If you lose, also as well, you could outscore other 7-win teams for the top 5 of the 8. But I will say, this is where Nixon's points for kind of come into play.
Yeah.
Nixon, a sneaky 1596 points for. He has you absolutely dominated.
So really, I should be, and other 7-win teams should be rooting for Tucker this week, is what I'm hearing.
For sure.
Due to the lower points for, he's not as tough to pass. Although I still need to outscore him by 5.
Although even still, he would be middle of the pack. So I will say the Tucker, Anderson, Thweatt, kind of rat race there.
Yeah.
That might be very interesting. Your season could be determined by less than 10 points.
My season could be determined by the fact that Jerry Jeudy hates the Broncos and just decided to drop 30 points last week, which was awesome.
Yes.
Or many other games throughout the year. That one just comes to mind.
You go back, any missed field goal, any missed point, any garbage time sack.
I mean, it's just the implications. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I feel like Oppenheimer when he's like looking, he's like, oh,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Good reference.
Very good.
Thank you.
Nixon. No second round bye available. So let's just get that away. 6 and 7 just to make the playoffs. He has to win and at least 2 of the current 7 loss teams lose and have more points for than them. The 7 teams, sorry, it should be 7-win teams. I apologize for that.
Right.
So those 7-win teams again are Grant, Mason, Houston, Thweatt, and Anderson. 5 of them.
And let's just, for the sake of it, take Grant out of the equation because Grant's 33 points ahead. That feels pretty unlikely.
I disagree with that.
You think?
100 to 133. I feel like that score happens.
Yeah. Just for the sake of the argument. I mean, again, assuming that unlikely scenario doesn't happen, it's certainly possible. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, needs a win. And then, it feels pretty likely if he wins that Houston or me or Anderson or Mason, 2 of those 4 could lose.
And his point,
it's not winning you're in, but it feels like win and you've got a great shot.
Points 4, he's got everyone covered.
Yeah, that's the reason.
So an example, so that would mean 4 spots are left because he cannot catch Sager and Craw, as we have more than 7 wins, which is the most he could reach. Any two of Grant, Mason, Houston, Thweet, Anderson lose, and he has more points for than them, and he's in. With a loss, he's eliminated.
Tough spot
And
for the guy to be in with 1596 points.
yeah, for sure. And a chance at the third spot. He has a chance to win Division Johnson.
It's true.
Come in and steal it at the
That's
last.
that 33 points we talked about.
Yep. And Tucker, also 6-7. Has to win the exact same as Nixon and have at least 2 current 7-loss teams lose and have more points for than them. He is currently ahead of both Thweet and Anderson.
So is he close? Before I talk about me and Anderson, is he close to? Let's see, who are the others?
So
Houston, not particularly.
No, not very close.
Mason, not even close. I don't think he's more than 50 behind Houston and Mason.
So let me paint the playoff scenario for Tucker.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
Win, you lose, Anderson lose. I don't know how tough that is.
I will say those kind of feel like to me the two teams. Well, who does Mason play? That kind of feels like the two teams most likely to lose of those 7.
But again, he'd have to outscore Mason by 70.
Well, wait. No, I'm not even talking about Mason. I'm saying if Anderson and I lose.
Anderson plays Craw.
Right.
Play me. So
I think those are the two most likely to use. Houston has Grogan. Mason has Hayden, which is, with all respect, an absolute cupcake at this point in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if Tucker wins, this feels obviously then we have to lose and he has to stay ahead of us. He's only 5 points ahead of me right now, but it's better than him needing, Mason or Houston to lose.
For sure. This is probably the most exciting one. Those 3. I only see one of those 3 getting in the playoffs.
Of me, Anderson, and Tucker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident in saying that.
I kind of want to think about it right now, make a prediction.
What are the ESPN? What are the percentages?
Oh, good shout. Anderson is 56, I'm 49, and Tucker is at 22.
Okay.
So
that seems about right because basically it's a win and you're in for, well, kind of.
But it's yeah, because for Tucker, it's win and you need some help. But at the same time, is it not win and you need some help from me and Anderson? No, mine was pretty good. Mine was pretty win and you're in.
So there's 5 spots. So if you win one other team with 7 wins, you need to lose. That's all that has to happen. Or
right.
you outscore points for it.
But so Tucker basically needs a specific set of 2 teams to lose, which is why his is tough.
And to win.
And he has to win.
And to win.
Yeah. Why do we think Anderson's 7% higher than me? Is it just he's more likely to win? Was his scenario better? I don't recall.
No, his scenario is the same, and he has less points for, actually. So
I guess the computer, the BCS simulation just does not believe in the Copper Kittles.
Just likes his team. Okay. So here, I had the playoff percentages right here.
No.
Anderson's chance has gone up 1% since then. So they like something he's done.
Interesting. Maybe he just set his roster or something.
Probably. Seems believable.
And sorry, I might be getting ahead of something here. Do you have a prediction for what you think the playoffs are going to be?
We can pick that at the end. If I had to say.
Yeah, and if you're going to do this later, by all means, I didn't mean to rush it.
So I'll make my prediction. I'm obviously in. Craw, I think, is going to be in.
Can I look at the standings as we do this?
Yes. I think I'm going to be in. I think Craw is going to be in.
Yep.
I don't see a world in which Grant gets outscored by that many. Those three. So now
Yeah.
we're looking at 3 spots left. Five, no, 6 players. Yeah, 6 players.
Those 6 are Houston, myself, Mason, Anderson, Nixon, Tucker.
Yep. I think it's going to be Houston, Thweet, Nixon, and Anderson. I think Mason's going to choke it. Uh,
Wow, 82%.
oh no, wait, that was too many.
Also, you just named too many teams. I was
Yeah, that
about to
was too
say
many.
you named you're up to 7.
All right, Nixon, Houston, Thweet.
Wow.
I think Division Henry is going to pull it out at the end.
You think Division Johnson? Wait, you said
Real-
Nixon.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say, okay, so Nixon wins, which with his points for pretty much does mean he's in.
yes.
Now, will he win? Tough to say, but it's so tough. I just feel like Division Johnson is better than these records. Like,
That's also not true. Mason's probably going to get in, but I just wanted to not pick him.
yeah, no, totally understandable.
He plays Hayden.
Mason does play Hayden,
He plays Hayden.
and Hayden. I don't think this roster is set. I mean, it doesn't have a kicker, but at this point, does it really matter? Like, it's hard to look at, honestly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Week 8 power rankings. Who cares? Doesn't matter anymore. I didn't update
Yeah.
it.
For the record, I did not actually make power rankings this week. This must be old or something, but I
This
like
is
yours
old.
very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. These are the matchups as they currently stand. Mason versus Hayden. I will say this. If you made it this far in the video and you're thinking my matchup doesn't matter, it does. Every single matchup has playoff implications. This is rivals week. Maybe you're not getting in, but you can keep someone else out, and that is maybe better than a victory. So just
I
keep
agree.
that in mind. We have Mason here. Traded away his best player. We hadn't talked about that. Hated it when I saw it. I hate it now. You want a guy who can score 40 points at any given week, and he traded 2 of those away. That's all I'll say about that. That being said, plays Hayden.
Plays Hayden.
Mike Evans back. But I mean, he's starting Alexander Madison. He's starting Christian Watson.
Yep.
Lost McCaffrey.
Yep.
Uphill battle.
Yeah. I don't see a world in which Hayden pulls this out. I'm done believing in this man.
For sure. I would also like to
regardless.
I would also like to make fun of Mason. He was rostering 5 quarterbacks last week.
Absurd.
As well as Dak Prescott in his IR and Taysom Hill, whatever you want to count him. So yeah, switching it up from Bo Nix, going to Jordan Love.
We'll see.
Benching a rookie right before the playoffs, making a switch like that. That's a decision that's going to keep him up at night. And looking at his team, are you blown away?
Which team we talking about here?
I'm not blown away personally. Also, I'm remembering now Bo Nix is on bye. So Cortland Sutton's also on bye. This is a losable game.
Losable.
It's losable. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Traded away Saquon. You'd like to have him this week.
Would have been nice.
Yep.
All right. Me versus Thweet. And the genius you are knew Joe Mixon was going to be on bye week 15.
Yeah, that was definitely
the future. You saw the City of Stars path. You know, I'm going to get Rico, and I'm going to have him week 14 in a must-win game. So so
you lose Joe Mixon, and you still are starting probably 3 running backs that I would take over any running back on my roster.
Another thing, I was shocked I got Isaac Guerrero.
Yeah, I was looking at this pretty hard, I will say. I had you bid 38. Is that right?
Correct. That's all I had.
I had 39 waiver dollars. And I bid 6 on a defense, which, probably not worth it. I needed a defense. But man, what was I saving it for? This was the week to go all in on Isaac
There,
Guerrero and to beat you by $1 before rivalry week. I mean, that's just a boost of momentum that you can't get that anywhere else.
no
You
doubt.
just can't.
And there are a couple guys who may I would have loved to see Hayden come out and get this guy just to try and give Mason a kick in the pants.
Mm.
Um, who else? Maybe Houston. I don't know his running backs. Tucker for sure. I was just a little disappointed.
And I will say Hayden has $30. So unless he got anyone this week, then he didn't have the cash.
Okay.
I'm on the budget report right now. If there's anyone else that you think is interesting, but
No,
Hayden
I
only
didn't.
30. Hayden's poor.
Yeah. Another marquee matchup.
Mm.
Nixon versus Tucker. Tucker has Nico Collins on bye. Nixon has Terry McLaurin on bye. I will say I was interested that neither one of them traded either of those players.
Mm.
Seems like maybe you could have made a lateral move and maybe had an advantage here. I reached out to Tucker, but my receivers are terrible, so it just didn't make sense. I was kind of surprised no one else maybe tried to kind of fleece him a little bit. But as
Yeah.
it stands, I'm looking at Saquon Barkley playing the Carolina Panthers, and I'm fearing for Tucker Cronwell's
Yeah.
chance of survival here.
Yeah, this is such an interesting game, and I want Tucker to win it because obviously it's better for me with his points for. Um, but I don't know. I mean, Tucker's 5 points ahead of me, anyways. I don't think I'm catching him. If he wins, then it probably means he has a decent game against this Nixon team. But yeah, I just think Nixon's team is too good to not make the playoffs, man. It's an injustice, really, if he doesn't.
That is 3 first round picks. He has Saquon, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's absurd. And he has Kaimi Fairbairn on the bench. Talk about star power.
He's missing out. Tucker not completely dead though. Devon Achane,
No.
Tyreek Hill, even Calvin Ridley. These are guys that could go off for 30 in any moment. He's just gonna have to hope it's one of those games.
Yep. Chase Brown coming off 26, 22, 19, 19, playing the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hate it. Yeah, Tucker has a great running back room. Shout out to the man.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, you know, Gus Edwards off the bench is actually pretty bad. I don't know. Did they have an injury or something? Why is he projected so much?
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins is hurt.
J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, good running back room, though.
All right, Grant versus Ben. Kind of a lower stakes matchup, but still one that Grant would like to have here. Chance to get the second round bye, as we had discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Starting Will Levis at quarterback. Who's his backup? Is Lamar on bye?
Lamar's on bye.
Okay.
So that's tough for him. At the same time, Levis playing the Jags makes
Yeah.
you think.
Makes you think.
I'm thinking about Westbrook Akina this week. I'll have you know.
All he does is score touchdowns. But if you
Oh,
start
but
him, he will not score one.
I
So
know, I
take
know.
that
He's
as
going to get 5 points if I start him, 24 if I don't. So
exactly.
not much you can do.
If we were to discuss things that we were wrong about, hand up, me saying many times I cannot trust a guy who had Bucky Irving in
Yeah,
his
that
lineup.
absurd
Hand
what
up.
Bucky Irving has done.
Hand up. So this
Yeah,
is a big game. Missing Lamar, I just don't see him getting eliminated. So it's actually
yeah.
not that big a game. But a bye is a playoff win
Hmm.
that cannot be overstated.
And I could see Ben pulling a meaningless win here. Not a bad team, like you said. It's not the most relevant game for Grant. Lamar on bye. I Trevor Lawrence hasn't been playing great, but I don't know how Brian Thomas Jr. does now.
He's on
Uh,
IR.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying Trevor's great, but now that he's out, like that has to affect Brian Thomas Jr. a little bit. Um, I don't know, man. Grant's team is just so interesting. I mean, how does this man have like the most points for, close to the most points for?
Yep. I feel like his team hasn't put it all together at the same time. Like Malik was great through stretches. Um, Harrison's had his moments. Jameer. So, he's not a guy you're going to want to play.
No. And it makes sense. It's a team of rookies. They're going to be inconsistent, but yeah, not a guy I want to see in the playoffs. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, you might not see anybody, but
We got a comedian here.
all right. Houston High versus Will Grogan.
Mm,
Houston, it's basically like a free agent acquisition, gets Isaiah Pacheco back right here at the end,
yep.
trying to make a playoff push. And I love it. Doing 12 personnel. David Njoku and Jonnu Smith. Tied in the flex.
It's
Doesn't
pretty
even have
awesome.
defense in at the moment. I love his
Also
chance.
has Garrett Wilson on the bench. I mean, I know he's been not great lately, but I don't know if that's something you look at. But yeah, I really can't say anything about this before Grogan sets his lineup. But yeah, I don't know. This one, I mean, Grogan is not a terrible team when he puts his players in. I don't know.
Does he have Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor, he does, but he's on bye.
Mm.
And so is Jaden Daniels. And so is Deontay Johnson, who's also suspended. And so Grogan has 6 buys on his roster this week, 2 of them in the game right now. That's wild.
Yep. But again, for Houston, would have liked him to. I believe he had $95 left. It's like Isaac Guerrero would be a piece he'd like to have.
The team does not blow me away at all, I will say.
No, but
I know I'm one to be saying that, but
no. I like the 2 tight ends. I just love it. I've done it once before. It was fun.
it is fun. I agree with you.
Okay. The other marquee matchup. K-Man King versus Anderson Little, who still has not changed his name after losing because he did not have Cameron Dicker. Just saying.
Yeah. And Craw, I don't know what Craw is up to in a huge matchup. Just a few things to note here. His quarterback is Kirk Cousins, projected 12. His defense, the Lions playing the Packers, and it's not like a kind of matchup you're just thrilled about. His flex is Demarcus Robinson, who's questionable and projected 7, and his kicker is on bye. So I do not think this is a full strength team, but he also has like no players on his bench. Everyone's on a bye. So is he planning to make any acquisitions? I don't know. I'm curious as to what Craw's doing here.
Tough to say. I would wonder. I don't want to do any insider trading. How much fab do these 2 teams have?
Well, Craw has 90 because I just looked. So you would have, I think that's a guy with 4 players on bye. You would have liked to see him make a move.
Yeah.
Anderson has 7, so a little different.
7. This is a spot. I'm not even gonna say it. This is not a fantasy help. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay. We'll see if they figure it out.
I'll tell you later. If he makes the move I would make, I will let him know. That's all I'll say.
It's getting close to all any of us will say because we have a minute left before this.
And that was the last slide.
Beauty.
So, best episode today.
I truly feel that I've never contributed to an episode of the High Risers less, but it was an honor to be here.
Yep. It took some time, and I think most of the math was unnecessary. But I enjoyed doing it nonetheless.
When you see things like outscore by 141.4, you wonder if that has much practical application.
That was kind of funny. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, good luck, kind of, in our matchup. I could just bench all my players. It doesn't really matter to me, but
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I probably won't, though. So
Season
good luck
starts now.
to everybody. Season starts now.
The highs have risen.
See you next week.